up, world? My name is Timothy DeJesus.
Hi everyone, Aldric here.
Hello folks, it's Kevin Kwok here.
Hi, this is Jeremey Sea. I just wanted to say this about bottoms-up perspectives. It's about real lives, real journeys, and real perspectives.
The whole idea behind bottoms-up perspective was from the word kampai, or in Asian culture, oftentimes we drink until the bottom of our cup is empty and we turn it over. So it's very much like just cheers, right? And building relationship. And that's what we're all about, is building authentic, solid relationships on a global level and being able to see things from a global perspective.
And no, we're not Alcoholics Anonymous.
We are here to be the voice of everyone.
I love the idea that we're real people and we get to share our experiences with real people just like you.
So we look forward to having you join us. What's going on, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter? Thanks to StreamYard, our sponsor, we're live everywhere, right, tonight. So just want to say hi to everyone, and we're on episode 31, correct?
Oh,
Congrats.
right. Like 31?
Congrats.
31.
Yeah.
So, and this episode is called Finding Neverland, right? So we all have childhood aspirations, who we want to be. And just like Peter Pan, sometimes we don't feel like growing up. We want to be a kid forever. So, and that's what we could talk about tonight. I think that's a great topic. And we have a special guest, Joseph here. So before we start tonight, Joseph, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell people kind of your profession. Give us a short elevator speech.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the word elevator speech when you said that. Oh, no. Okay. My background is very interesting. I actually started in banking, and then I went to event management, and I ran 3 businesses in marketing communications before I became a full-time caregiver to look after my late mom. And so it's been an interesting journey. It's double-edged sword, though, because some people think it's too many industries. Others can't place me when I want to find something to do. But I think it's been a very rewarding career. And now I'm looking for my next opportunity. And that's a bit about me.
That's awesome. So I want to say hi to Share, who just hopped on. And so he always says, Ice Ice Baby, right? He's trying to get me to sing. I don't know the lyrics, so.
How do you not know the lyrics to Ice Ice Baby?
I just know Ice Ice Baby.
Elaborate and listen. Ice backward to invention. How do you not know these lyrics?
I don't, man.
You should hear him trying to sing with all of his favorite songs.
I would love to see
I skip and make up my own words.
Maybe he should DJ with Tim T.
Yeah.
I'll be the lead singer.
So that's an awesome journey, Joseph. So you went from banking to full-time caregiver. And
yeah.
Yep. So it sounds like you have an interesting story, just hearing it from, I saw Aldric's post, and also I read your bio. It's kind of how you started your LinkedIn journey at a later time than most of us, right? So tell us a little about that before we start with the questions tonight.
Actually, Aldric will know my background more than anyone here. The social media platform is actually not something I'm very comfortable with. So that's why maybe I started very late. And it's not by choice, actually. It's more like a push factor. I have a Facebook account that I never use. It's just to connect with my nieces in America. So when I was asked to open a LinkedIn profile, I did it, but nothing happened until last October. And I decided that I had posts, and someone pushed me and practically threatened me to post. So I came up with this first post in 10 minutes, and then I just posted it, and I didn't want to take a look at it anymore, you know. So because I mean, I can resonate with a lot of people when they do their first posting and they don't get the likes and the comments, and it can be quite disheartening and discouraging. But for some, maybe it's the algorithm that now I can use this buzzword algorithm, you know. Got my first views, about 6,000 views, and the person that actually encouraged me was a bit more angry because I had more views than him, you know. Yeah. So my journey has been good so far. When I say good, it's not because I'm amazing 50,000 followers or 100,000 followers, but it's because I've been meeting wonderful people. I mean, I'm speaking to four of you, and I've met wonderful people. I've connected, and I'm not a extroverted in that sense. I don't like to actually network, to be honest. And through LinkedIn, really, I don't like to be. The irony of all my careers is that I got into positions of marketing and business development, things that I avoided from my student days. You know, I like to stay in the background. So, and it was such an irony. So when I first started LinkedIn, then when I built all these relationships, it was wonderful because it's really from online, you bring them to offline and you get to know them. And one of the persons I got to know offline is Aldric. And we had meaningful conversations, and then I will check information with him. So my journey has been wonderful in that respect, not because I hope I don't offend anyone when I say it's because of building followers or liking this post and share the comments, you know. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Nah,
No, that's
don't
great.
worry about it, Joseph. All of us, in fact, all of us in this chat room now, we have a different way of thinking about our followers and influence. I think Tim had a very good post, I think it was 2 days ago, and I responded because I said that it was such an uncanny parallel. I was working on that message. I was like trying to do the image and then the text. I was like, it's not about the followers, not the people influence. And then his post came out. I was like, shit, he beat me to it just by 2 minutes. I was like, oh jeez. So I thought, let's not waste it. I'll just reply using the image. But anyway, I don't think that just my view. I don't think that there's any right way to do social media or there's any right way to do a LinkedIn or whatsoever. It depends on what we are after. Naturally, for Kevin and myself, we have a very strong commercial slant to it for everything that we do. I think Timothy and Jennifer has a very strong presence in terms of their personal branding, and it works for all of us. I see that like social sciences, there's room for everyone. There's no one right answer. So it is what it is. And I think, Joseph, you have been doing a very good job, and I have to give it to you. I think you are crushing it at 60 years old. How many 60-year-old can say that they can really do this? Like, hey, you know, I'm meeting 50,000+ people every day. I'm chatting to them every day, and I don't need to be out and things like that. And I'm not worried about it. I mean, like, it's so liberating. It's so liberating.
I guess you brought up a good thing. I've never heard of this. I've been in marketing communications, but we've talked about branding, but I've never really focused much on personal branding because I always thought it was a given. You can't say you have your personal brand and you have a corporate brand, because I think there must be some alignment between the two, right? Your core values, your foundation has to be the same. You join companies who are aligned with your core values. I would be very surprised if people join companies who are totally off from their core values. So when people talk about personal branding, to me, it's a given. So I'm glad that, you know, this message has been reiterated, been resonated, and been highlighted. I must say, besides Audrey, I also follow Tim a lot because I like his messaging, other than his Friday DJs and, you know, and the music. So I mean, and it's that's how I've been doing it. I follow certain people because their messages are very strong. We learn from them, you know, and they add value. So that's to me the key, you know, function of LinkedIn. Yeah.
I've definitely followed you back, Joseph, and I really appreciate the words of wisdom. It's like every time I read one of your posts, I'm like, wow, that's really compelling. And I actually look up to you in a lot of regards, because I know sometimes, like my post can go either way. Whereas with you, it's very consistent. Like you have a very consistent following base. Your message is very consistent, and I actually appreciate and applaud that, and I actually respect the hell out of it. So I really
Aldric can attest to this. There's some days where I just have no idea what to post. I'll be sitting there for 3 days and I'll be thinking about what to post, and it's not like a free flow. And I'll have to be honest with you. Sometimes I really don't know what to write. Yeah, and that's the problem sometimes. And I admire people who post 2 or 3 times a day, and it's amazing, because to get one post out, I'll be thinking for 3 days what I'm going to really say about my post. Yeah.
No, I understand. I just took a 2-day break the other day, so I get it.
I did that myself, so throughout the weekend. And I think it goes for all of us, right? At the end of the day, social media, I always say, is designed for relationships. It wasn't intended for just algorithms only, right? So, I mean, it's as good as what we make it. So, so honestly, if you don't want to post, it's okay. Honestly, I seen guys that post 4 times a day and they don't get views. And then I seen guys that post 6 times a day and they do get views. So and I've been studying this stuff for, because I own an agency. So I look at a lot of accounts, there was a time our company managed 200 plus social media accounts. And there is no right method. I can tell you that. Looking at data, I seen accounts, the algorithm, they post 1 time, maybe out of, 1 time every other day, and they kill it. They have 600,000. And then there's guys that post twice every day and they get nothing. So I'm everyone tells you something, and it really depends on the personality, the person behind it, the brand behind it, the product, the service, and everything has to align. The stars has to align, and who knows, right? And the algorithm change every day. So you can never keep up.
I think I have to agree with Joseph, though, that it really does come down to providing value.
Yep.
I think it's not how many times you post, but when you post, it moves people. That's, I really feel that has to do with personal branding. And I don't think that posting should ever get tedious or boring. For example, there'll be times where I'll post 2 times a week, but I'll go back and look at it, and I'm just giving an example here, but have 30,000 views on one post, and the other post I may have, 100. I mean, but to me, I see somebody taking the post, I have one right now that has 5 shares, and I'm not saying that, to speak highly of myself, but because people found value in it, they're sharing it, and then more people are seeing that message. And I feel like that, for me, at least in my brand, a lot of things comes from just my everyday life. For example, my kid might run by naked, and it just, for some reason, it makes me think of a life lesson. He runs by screaming or something, or I just get off the phone with a friend.
Run by naked on accident. That's when it's gonna go skyrocket. Okay.
Yes.
She's gonna get a lot of views. Okay.
So I could get off the phone with a friend, or a bird can come sit on the porch and visit me while I'm drinking coffee. It just, things that just inspire life lessons, or that are affecting my own life, are what I write about. And I know not everybody has to do that, but I think inspiration should come from all around us. And that if posting becomes a difficult thing, then like Kevin said, take a break until inspiration comes.
Actually, I do that sometimes, and Jennifer, I agree with you, because before the show, I was looking at your video, and the one thing that struck me is the statement I think Kevin made it about building valuable and meaning relationships, and that was the objectives of the bottom-up perspective. And that struck the most chord with me, because that's the most important thing when you build valuable relationships on not only on LinkedIn, on everywhere, you know, and it really enriches your life actually, and it makes you grow as a person. I mean, I wouldn't repeat my age, but I'm still learning, you know. I only stopped learning. I only stopped learning when I closed my eyes, actually, you know.
Did you say 25? I think it was.
Yeah,
25.
25. Right.
Yeah, 26 next month. I know. Yeah.
So while we're talking about age, so let's start with our first question, right? So what do you wish you knew when you were younger? That you know,
Great question.
now, like today, looking back, what would you wish you knew when you were younger that you know now, right?
That's directed to me, right?
All of us. So
Okay,
you're welcome. Whoever take it first.
No.
Right?
Oh no,
Yeah.
Joseph has to start this one at
Yeah,
least.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Actually, in all honesty, I have no regrets with my whole life. But if I had to knew something that when I was younger, it would be having a better control over my career. Actually, I actually was blessed without having to really think about it. It just went from one career to another. But having said that, also maybe it was not so planned. So if I had to do one thing different and I knew a bit more about career structuring, as now I'm beginning to figure out, I would have done that a bit differently. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have any major regrets, actually. Yeah. What about the others?
Who's next?
I'll go. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I could probably not say on camera.
It's fine, Tim.
Swag.
Swag.
What?
Just
Swag.
do it,
No, I'm
man.
just
Come
joking.
on, no big deal.
That being said,
You're not gonna be job seeking anyway, so it's okay.
exactly.
Just joking.
No, you know, in all seriousness, what I do wish I had done earlier is I wish I would have gotten on social media a lot earlier, because I really started my journey this year, and I missed the golden years on a lot of these platforms to kind of build any kind of, you know, substantial fan base, let's call it. And you know, that's something that now I look back, I'm like, shoot, like I missed a huge opportunity with a lot of this stuff. But I mean, it's okay, I'm making the best of it. But that's something that now I started my journey literally this year, 2020, and I look back and I say, man, I could have done a lot of damage had I started this way sooner. So that's my personal, what could I have done differently? That would be it.
That's it? Like, I think there's more, right? I'm waiting for the spicy part to come out. That's just an opener. Keep going.
No, that's it. That's all you get.
Aldric, go.
National version.
Aldric's turn. I want to hear. What would he change?
Okay. I think so. I would say that I think living a life where we don't have any regrets is very difficult to do. Because we do have regrets. So long as we are doing something, we will have regrets. The person that does nothing achieves nothing. In fact, that's one of my next LinkedIn posts. It was a revelation that came from my aunt. I think for people who follow my Sunday LinkedIn post, you know that I talk a lot about how I grew up alongside my aunt, who really shaped the way I think about things. And so just a sneak preview of what I'm going to post on Sunday is really about, there was once I was utterly trashed. I got home and I just didn't want to do anything. I was just like wimping around, and I threw myself in the sofa. And I just lamented. I said, why is life so tiring? Can we just stop doing anything? Just stop doing anything. So my aunt was taking coffee from the kitchen. She walked past, she stared at me, and then she smirked, and then she gave me a response. She said, I still remember, she said things like, it's always beautiful to do nothing, enjoy life, watch TV. But, you know, it feels terrible when you look back and think that you have achieved nothing too. So do you want to do nothing or you want to achieve nothing? Then I was like, oh my god. Then I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I want to sleep. I can't sleep. I just put myself back up and I went and So I think having no regrets in life is something that is ingrained in me. Is deep in me. I think in previous episodes I did mention I have a bit of Achilles syndrome. But the only difference is Achilles knows when exactly he's gonna die. I don't. So and precisely because I don't, I operate in a way that I'm always in a rush every day. Because I think time is a very scary thing. It just goes along. There's no way we can control what we can do, but we can control our effort. So that's what I think. I think looking back, I do have regrets. I do. Sometimes it has to do with results. Sometimes it has to do with effort. It's like at the point where I got my final results from my university, I cried. I teared uncontrollably for 3 days. Because it was now it's a regret, but at that time it felt like I couldn't accept it. And here's why. It's not about the results. It's about giving it my all and still not achieving it. It's giving it my all and still not achieving it. And I think that can be quite devastating in terms of the psyche. So I teared uncontrollably. I was like, I can't believe that, I'm second rated and things like that. So that I think that was it. That one really stayed in me. So
I have to say, first of all, because then I want to say something to Aldric on what he was saying. First of all, I want to be like Joseph when I grow up and have no regrets.
No major regrets, because I realized that, as you get older, right? I mean, that I say this because I'm not being a smart aleck or what. As you get older, you get wiser, because experiences have taught you certain lessons, and what you felt or you were angry at 25, 35, you improve on it. So I think as you get older, when I say, the message that I've been hearing a lot about simplicity and clarity, the pandemic has taught me that a lot. Simplicity and clarity. And I'm enjoying simplicity, I used to be at a stage where I love my branded shoes and I love my branded belts, but now it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
So, and
you've found the value of life, like what it means to you or what really is meaningful.
I guess it's more meaningful, I think, because when I look back, I've been blessed. So I count my blessings, and I count my blessings every day, no matter what the problems are, because I'm constantly reminded, I'm surrounded by good people who remind me that we should count our blessings. So, and it's all a mindset, So as we age, really, with age comes wisdom, actually. Yeah.
So what will make you angry now at where you are today?
Oh, I actually have a very bad temper when I started working. When I was in the bank, my reputation was, Joseph, bad temper. Yeah. Okay, so now whenever I'm faced in such a situation, I take a step back, I get away from the problem, and I come back later or come back the next day. I don't let it get to me, because it's my health. Is it? Yeah. So that's how I solve my problem. Yeah.
I can't even imagine Joseph being angry right now.
Yeah, I do.
Like he is, like right now, he's the most calm of all of us.
Kevin works in an agency. I used to be an agency director, and they knew when I was angry. So yeah.
Do you get quiet when you're angry? Are you one of those, or are you more explosive?
Just by my tone of voice, they will know.
Oh, yeah. And then they back away slowly.
Yeah, then you know.
Oh my goodness. Well, so for me, as far as answering this question, I want to go before Kevin, because I know he probably has a lot to say too. But Okay, so if I'm being really, really honest, there's a part of me, I'm thankful for my upbringing. I love my parents to death, but there's a part of me that wishes that I had been raised in a Chinese family or Asian culture. And I say that only for one reason. I 100% believe in education, and I wish that I had been pushed more to do that and not given a choice. And I mean, I don't look down on anyone who doesn't have an education, but for me, as I've gotten older, I've seen the value of it, and in every aspect of life. And I wish that I could set my younger self on my lap, go back now and just say, okay, here's the way it's going to work. Here's how to deal with your emotions. Here is how, to choose a partner, which I did a good job, but I didn't get him till 30. So we had to go through some things first, to really learn what is valuable in a relationship. And so, I don't feel like I was really given any direction whatsoever. So, I really wish that I could just sit down with myself and speak a lot of wisdom into my life. And so every opportunity that I get to do that for somebody is my great joy, because if they will listen, it will save them so much, heartache. And, so yeah, I mean, that's pretty detailed, but, I've gained a lot of experience. I'm very proud of where I'm at now. I love my life. I love Kevin, my family, but gosh, I wish I had have known what I know now. I mean, there's so many things that I would have done differently or seen differently, that I didn't even know was possible. So, and at least in Asian culture, I know it's, we don't believe in, a lot of spanking or anything like that, but they'll just haul off and hit you if you do anything wrong, and then you never do it again. They just da, and then you go in the right direction, do the right thing. You're scared to mess up. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, I see the value both of both East and West cultures, but I do wish I had more of the chats, where you sit down and you explain, hey, this is how to make a good decision, or this is how to choose a good path for your life, or not being controlled, but being trained with wisdom, being taught, now I understand the Chinese proverbs, the purpose of them. And there's just a lot of great life lessons that I feel like can be taught through spending time and talking to your children. And I wish I had more of that, at least in specific areas, and just really had that guidance and respected my parents more. So anyway, that's pretty much it. And I did want to add one more thing before Kevin starts. Aldric's talking about, was it Achilles? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
So like, you and I are total opposites. And I know Kevin's more like you. So time is money, basically. So time is valuable, and you want to use every minute to your greatest. But what I've noticed in life, and this is just me sharing my thoughts, but the faster we go, the faster time goes. So if you don't sit back to take time to enjoy it, and you're go, all of a sudden that day's over, and the next day's over, and the next day's over, and the next day's over, and you've accomplished a lot, but what have you accomplished? And so I can be a little bit too relaxed sometimes, but I just noticed that. I noticed, wow, when I go, time goes, and then it's gone, and I don't, did I really enjoy it? And so sometimes I can be a little bit too relaxed, right, Kevin? I live every moment to the absolute fullest, but it may not look productive from the outside, but I am enjoying my life completely.
what you're supposed to do. So that's good.
Right. Okay. Anyway, that's. I always tell Kevin that though, because he'll work, which we need to do, and I believe in that 100%. I'm so proud of I love hard work, but sometimes that he'll go, man, it's already over. Like time just goes so fast, and then this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and I'm like, you're already 10 years ahead of yourself, and yes, it's going to get here quickly. But if you don't like slow down and take in the moments,
I'm just trying to move away from the pandemic, Jen.
He's like, let's move to 2021. Let's just get there really fast. Anyway, that's all I have.
24/7, the pandemic will go by really fast.
Yeah, right.
We balance each other. He pulls me forward more fast, and I slow him down a little bit. So we're a good match there.
Oh.
So I think for me, now I look back in my younger years, I think, what I've learned is there's just things that we can't control, and it's okay. You just let things be, right? And honestly, for me, as Jen brought it up, like time, I had to learn to slow down as I get older, because I was very typical, right? I was very achievement oriented. I wanted to climb the corporate ladder. Wanted to be successful, own multiple businesses, but at the same time, I was always go person, right? Until I lost my dad to cancer, and it was a wake up call, because I was like, no matter what I do, I can't reverse that time to spend with him, quality time. And I'm learning the people that matter most, like my family. Sometimes we can go. But at the end of the day, now looking back, what really matters most, right? And it's like Joseph said, it's not the name brand shoes, it's not the nice belts, it's not the big house, it's not cars. All that stuff can just, who cares, right? It really doesn't matter. You can't take it with you when it's all over, right? So I look back, and I wish when I was younger, also understanding that noises don't matter as well. I think growing up, and it goes to what Jennifer said a little, it contradicts her. Asian culture is all about success. You go to college, you accomplish, blah, 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 son did this, or why aren't you an engineer? Why aren't you this XYZ, right? The parents put so much pressure on you, to be successful. So if I look back now, I wish I did what I was passionate about. And I know passion's just a BS word, right? But at least do something I could be happy doing earlier in my life. So I went through a career where I did things that, it wasn't always me. I did it at the mercy of trying to please other people. And I was good at it, and I was successful. But at the same time, deep inside, it wasn't something I enjoyed doing. And I think as a younger person, there comes a time when you have to start making decisions for yourself. Because now I look back, eventually you outgrow your parents, you outgrow your friends, your relatives. And honestly, you're the one that has to live with it. They don't. Those people move on. And if you choose a career because of someone else or the noise around you, you're the one unhappy. You don't affect anyone else. So choose it for yourself. And that's what I will tell my younger self, because I spent a lot of time that I wish I was already starting to do things I enjoy, that I felt I was gifted at, instead of trying to please other people. And then all those years, 10, 15 years was just I had my success in the corporate world, but it was kind of, to me, it's still kind of a wasted effort because I wasn't always happy, And I think at the end of the day is happiness matters most, So that's my take.
Preach it, man. I completely agree with you.
Yep. So,
and I think Jennifer made a very good point, but I also want to just supplement on that. I see how should I say, the path ahead of us if we can imagine it, like the path ahead of us, is wide enough. This path that we travel on called life is wide enough. And if we think of it like a marathon, right? Some of us thinks that finishing a marathon in 3 hours is very slow. And some of us thinks that going for a 5-hour 30 is a very good pace because I can enjoy the entire 26.2 miles. It's fine. The path is wide enough. I think the thing that I don't really appreciate is someone else telling someone else that you should go faster or you should go slower. Because deep down, we are who we are. There are different things that we treasure. So there's no need to compare the kind of treasure that we want versus what other people want. And life is very interesting. Now you want to go fast, right? Few years later, you want to go slow. And when you're slow and you're sick of it, you want to go fast again. So it's a cycle. At the end of the day, if our life goes long enough, we will experience the cycle of like going fast and then wanting to slow down and then want to be ambitious again and then we want to. So I think it's fine. It's I'm probably at the point, and probably Kevin and Timothy too. We're at the point where we just want to keep going, but there will be a point where we won't. And then what next, right? What next?
So what do you?
Sorry, I think I want to add something on that Aldric said very importantly.
Let the 25-year-old talk.
Yeah, okay.
Let the younger ones talk now.
Okay, I think when we use the word compare, how do we use the word compare? Because it can work both ways. Do we compare out of jealousy, or do we compare because out of self-improvement? And in the last couple of months, I've been thinking about this because a lot of posts have been written about upgrading and improving yourself. So I believe in positive comparison, where you want to have a better version of yourself, but not at the expense of jealousy and unnecessary competition and, backstabbing and all. So I think that word compare has to be used correctly, at least from my point of view. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I agree.
I wonder just in all of this, and I hope that it's appropriate at this moment, but I have always convinced myself, so I definitely want to hear Aldric's thoughts on this, but also Joseph's. Have you ever heard the phrase how the turtle and the rabbit?
Yeah.
And the rabbit finishes before the hare, even though the hare comes faster, because he does sometimes slow down and stop to take that break. I am the turtle. So I always tell Kevin, it's okay to go slow because I will beat you. In the end, I will win. And I'm okay with that. I am okay with going slow. I'm okay with taking my time. I will still get there. I will make it happen. So what are your thoughts on that? Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my mindset is wrong.
Who wants to go first?
Joseph, you go first.
Okay.
Some wisdom.
When you were mentioning that, the sentence that struck me was "slow and steady wins the race."
Okay, there you go. Yes, yes.
Because
slow and steady.
If you have speed without careful planning, you're going to fall. I mean, that's my simple logic to it. Whereas if you plan properly, you're going to be more successful. So there's a lot of truth in slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
My turn?
Yes.
Yes. Give it to me. Your face is haunting.
Growing up, I hated that story.
I knew you were gonna say that. That's so funny.
Because I think that the tortoise and the hare, that story is actually a manifestation of two different attributes that are forced to compete with each other. So one is about talent, one is about hard work, and they are forced to compete with each other in this story. So talent in a race of speed, the hare is talented, the tortoise is the hardworking one, because he doesn't have the talent, right? He has a shell that he has to cut, that he has to labor on. And I think that it's a very wild story. I think it's a very wild story. This is my view. This is my view. If you are talented in something and you work very, very hard in it. Imagine the amount of grounds you can cover. If the hare is very talented at running, he works hard for it. There's no competition. But he has to be humble to work hard on it. Right? Now, of course, it doesn't mean that if you don't have a talent, then life is hell for you. It doesn't mean that. But you can still work hard for something that you are passionate about, that you love, that you believe in. The thing is that there will be a natural limitation. I'm saying this out of love because I've done a lot of things I know. Things that doesn't come to me naturally and I want to do it, I will never be in the 1%. But I'll be in the 2%, 3%, 4%, no problem. It's not an issue. You will get there. But you will not be able to compete at the highest level. Like Jacqueline Young. When she talks about swimming, I can tell she is competing at that level. I can't. Well, I can put in my practice. I can pass my test. I can get into the gold class and things like that. But when time comes and they are doing a national selection for, let's say, the national competitors representing Singapore, I'm not going to cut it. So I think I don't really like that story because it's too simplistic. And it doesn't really appreciate how life really is.
Okay.
So if you're talented in something, work hard at it.
I agree with you 100%, except for one thing. I want to bring in a new perspective of that story.
Man.
Mentality.
Yeah.
Perspective and mentality is everything. Not based on skill, but based on the rabbit's mentality and perspective and attitude in comparison to the turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was for a younger target audience too, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So we cannot make it too difficult for a younger target audience.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's don't go too deep into this then.
Yeah.
Right.
But otherwise, on a more of a surface level, I agree with you on that, Aldric. Because if you are comparing hard work who lacks skill compared to someone who lacks skill but is lazier, yes, I get that.
Aldric, I think you have your #1 bestseller for Amazon.
Which is what
just that the turtle wins the race.
A children's book. You can write a children's book.
A revised
generation.
I don't think they're gonna like my book because I'm gonna tell them to work hard.
Yep, we go change the perspective with the hare and the tortoise.
And just to end off, Jen, my last thought on why I don't like that story. There is actually a level of stereotype in there. I don't know if you picked it up. People who are talented aren't necessarily prideful. They are not. Some of the most intelligent people that I met, they are very humble.
Mm-hmm.
They are very, very humble, and they don't take advantage of it. It's like, I'm just like you. It's just so happened that we are competing at this particular topic that I'm good at. That's all. So I've seen quite a lot of people that's like that. So I think that story is a little too simplistic for my liking, even when I was a kid.
Okay, so I do have to say, not knowing Aldric as a child and getting to know him as an adult, yes, you were a very analytical child, which is a good thing. You have definitely thought of every aspect of that story. I did not expect that, but I love it.
Well, here's my second question. So everyone talks about Gen Z right now, right? You hear it a lot. But what about those who are 40 plus?
That's Gen Y, right?
What about them?
Yeah. So my question is, why is the focus so much right now, the noise on social media? We see so much focus on Gen Z, right? But what about those who are older, like 40 plus? Why is it not as much activity? There's not as much noise. Why do every generation we always move on and focus on the younger?
I think Joseph's too young for this question.
No, I was thinking about it because Gen Z also overlaps with millennials, right? To some extent,
Yeah,
right?
there's weird tweener generations. There's like
Yeah.
millennials and gennials, which is
Mhm.
just strange.
Yeah. I'm afraid to comment about millennials, so I'll just listen now.
Don't be afraid of anything, Joseph. You have full reign on this.
No, I think my understanding of Gen Z and overlaps into millennials is because they are a total different mindset, you know. So I think I will relate well with a millennial because I will learn a lot from that person, and I will be able to change my perspective, my old ways into more relevant ways. And the millennials grew up in more social media. If correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a social media. So they are very into this.
The guy with the most followers.
I know, right?
They are into this
not
social
any
media.
social
Jack
media.
Joseph, but this point from Kevin is a very good one. You know the people that I know who have the most followers, they are not really the Gen Zs or even like Tim, myself, Jennifer, or Kevin. They are like yourself, Joseph.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm like,
Jack Young, she's got 50.
you guys are like crushing it. Your age group, you guys are crushing it. It's like, oh, you're doing it way better than we are. At least that's my view. It's a compliment.
Yeah, but I think the millennials have a lot to offer in the sense that they're very vocal about what they feel, but they're also very not so forgiving if something goes wrong. You know, they're very in that respect. And I don't mean it in a very bad way, you know, because it's the growing up in a different generation. I grew up in a generation where being vocal wasn't perceived as good, you know, in an Asian culture, like Kevin or Aldric said, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm Asian by nationality. We were taught that certain things are just not, it's taboo to even mention, you know. So it's a different generation now. Yeah. So that's my perspective of it. Yeah. That's it.
So do you think that the 40-year-olds should be more vocal now, or how?
They're definitely more vocal than me, but I'm just wondering why Gen Z? Because until Kevin brought up this question, I never knew that the Gen Z were neglected in that sense. You know what I mean? Because people are always talking of Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. So it's never really something that I reflected about, because I can only think that Gen Z also overlaps a bit to the millennials, and they've been getting a bit of attention too, right? Yeah. I don't know if you see where I'm coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I find it kind of interesting, and the reason I have this question frame in here is I feel Gen Z is very active in the whole social media game, right? And a lot of times you have a lot of live lessons within their copy and their content throughout the internet. They're the most, I think, vocal about the how, you know, to live and different things like that. I think if you look at even millennials, Gen X, throughout time, right? You've never seen a generation that's so open to voicing the way to live at such a young age, right? Which is a paradigm shift, right? Especially from an Asian culture, I don't dare to tell my parents, you know, how they should do things when I was 18 or 19, right? It's like my dad would hit me with a chopstick, you know? So, and yet alone on a professional network on LinkedIn or whatever. So it's definitely a shift, right? There's a lot of outspokenness. So I just want to hear from you guys, since we're all, you know, we're past that age, that generation. What are your thoughts about it? You know, how do you perceive it? You know, is it negative? Is it positive? And it's just, I want to hear perspective, right? Because that's what this show's all about. What's your take? And I love that we also have that global East and West, right? Because a Gen Z, and I don't know because I'm in the U.S. culture, might be different in the Asian culture, so I would love to hear that too.
I have go ahead, Tim.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I have more of a surface level answer just to start it off. I guess for me, it makes sense to focus on the generation that's the up and coming businessmen and women. They are, like you said, immersed in social media, which is where everything is going right now especially because of the pandemic, but also because that is part of their generation. I am one of those that are 40 plus. We won't go into details on that. But I am that older generation who remembers, the dial-up phones that are plugged into the wall and when you first get your cordless and you get that computer that has MS-DOS that you have to type something in to get to the next screen. It's all black and white. Okay. We're talking, I remember all of that as a kid. And so getting our first computer in our home, literally right before I became, it was after I was a teenager already. So, and then seeing cell phones develop, and then now all of a sudden, I'm 40 plus and we have the most incredible iPhones, cameras, technology, anything you can imagine. We have it. It's continuing to develop into AI. So it makes, I love that I saw both sides of social media, like before it ever existed, even in the minds of normal people, to now when it's super prevalent, and that's where business and everything is going. And it's very crucial to this day and age. But anyway, that's why I said surface level, because I can't really speak to, what that's supposed to look like, but I understand why that they're gearing it toward this next generation. It just makes sense to me. So
I have a pretty interesting take on this, I think. So, I know my daughter loves YouTube, right? And I know a lot of kids love YouTube. And the thing that I think why there's so much focus on Gen Z is they got into social media as teenagers, right? This stuff wasn't in existence for us as teenagers. For me, there was MySpace at the tail end of my teenage years, right? And going into my 20s. And that was our first experience with social media. But some of these kids, I'll give you an example. She watches this channel on YouTube called Infinite. And it's a kid who's been on YouTube for 10 years. He's 23 now. He was 13. He's got 15 million followers.
Yep.
He's got more followers than President Trump. Right? But
not for long. No,
but he's, he started at 13, and he actually, I think, had a channel even before that. But the kids now are getting on social media. It's just part of the deal as you become teenagers. And my daughter, she's 8, has grown up knowing an Instagram, a Facebook, a YouTube. They've grown up knowing this. So I think the generations of 40 plus, from my point of view, a lot of them, they think social media is Facebook. That's social media, right? That's kind of all they know. There's not an Instagram. There's some 40 plus that know Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff. But the reality is, a lot of people Facebook was okay, that's social media. That's their idea of social media. And clearly we've evolved very far from just having the days of Facebook. So I think that's probably why you're seeing so much focus on Gen Z, because Gen Z has grown up in this era. They understand it. They live it and breathe it, and they're on it probably from the time they're 10, 12, whatever. They're on social media from that point forward. So you're seeing them, they're more in your face. And as you said, Kev, they're also they're in your face about their views and things like that. I think I'm 37. From my generation on forward to the 40 plus, we're a little bit more reserved in a lot of ways, because that's how we were raised, as you said.
That's good.
So I think, the Gen Z that's where you're seeing all the attention on. That's just from what I think.
I think for the 40 plus, it's I'm in that direction too with you, Tim. So we're not too far off. I find it very interesting, and if we can really just keep it like very simple structures based on age group. Of course, we have people we respect, like Joseph with a lot of life experience, and then the younger ones, what we can learn from them is their willingness to express themselves. But then the thing is, I see a lot of good in that attribute, which is say what you mean and say it. You have to say it. If you don't, people will put words into your mouth and you might not like it. So you might as well just say it. That's a good thing, right? But not to the point where I'm going to take your life lessons seriously. If it's about life lessons, I will read what Jacqueline, Joseph, Winnie will write. Because those things come with time. Wisdom comes with time.
Yes.
So at where we are today, and even at where Jennifer and Kevin, where we are today, it's very interesting. The people with a lot of life experiences, they are very reserved. So Joseph posts twice a day. I think the last time was something on plastics, right? Which is a very good topic. Do you expect someone else from the very young generation to post about plastics? I mean, apart from the sweet young lady whom I don't want to meet. Okay. Yeah. So I think there's a lot that we can learn from. One is the life experiences that people have already accumulated, and then from the young is that attribute. That attribute is the willingness to express themselves. Yeah, but with moderation. I mean, like if someone were to go to an institution and start screaming and they get attention because that they are screaming, well, then probably that's not what I endorse. But I think a huge dose of humility goes a long way. There's so much that we can learn from different groups. And just as a parting shot, I think the 40-year-olds and even Tim and myself, I don't think we have it any easy, right? We go home, we have to listen to the life lessons that our elders give us, and then we have to listen to the young ones telling us what to do and express your views, and then you're like, okay, I'm sandwiched in between. Like, okay, yeah, nice. So I don't think it's a very pleasant kind of experience, but I'll put it as that.
But I think Audrey has a good point, because no matter what age you are, at least for me, I feel, because that's the foundation, that you must have certain boundaries and parameters. I mean, it's good to be vocal, but you can be vocal with respect and understanding, rather than just, I mean, sometimes when I go on social media and I see some of the comments and like, wow, they say don't mince your words, they really mean it, but without any thinking about the repercussions. So I think we must be mindful of that all the time, because sometimes when you say things, it has very bad effect on others also. Yeah.
I think every Gen Z should read this book.
Yes.
It's more about being quiet and making a plan.
But I think the whole
wisdom.
No, I do agree with both Joseph, Aldric, Tim, Jen. I think we brought a good point. I think humility at all age matters, and then the perspective. I think our words are powerful. What we say affects a lot of people. Even you might not think what you post might affect someone, but if that person just happens to be emotionally unstable or mental health that day, you could affect them without even knowing, right? And I think we do have to take that into consideration. And then it's a little different now. The game's kind of changed. Used to, we can say something and it's not documented forever on these social platforms.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think about, man, there were things I did as a young man that I probably don't want people to know when I'm starting a new career. I mean, there was times, I was one of those young entrepreneurs, right? I own a business in my 20s that was successful at the time. And then I lost everything, right? So while I was along for the ride, I was successful. I wasn't thinking I'll lose it, And my attitudes change at my age now, looking back, because everything you don't know tomorrow who might be your next boss. You don't know tomorrow if you'll be actually the guy washing that person's car. You don't know. So why be prideful because you're successful right now? You know, we don't know what happens tomorrow. None of us, you know. Today I might be a business owner. Tomorrow I might be a janitor. Who knows, right? And I think that leads to my next question. What happens if we all had to start over at our age?
And where we are today, is that what you mean?
Where we are today. If right now in your career, in your life, it just doesn't go well, right? Who knows, right? Career-wise, and you have to start over. What does that look like for you?
I'll go because it got quiet.
Okay.
Go.
You know what I'd probably honestly do? And it's funny because I have all these years in the car business of running dealerships and like building departments and doing all this stuff. You know, if I really had to start over, I'd probably just get a seat at a local dealership and sell cars and just do it at my pace. And I'd sell enough cars to make enough money to be just fine. And instead of like having all the responsibility of leadership and all the things that I've had to do over the course of my life, I'd rather just take that and apply the knowledge to doing something simple and being cool, like not having all that responsibility, just having to worry about myself. If I had to start over, if I lost my business, if the book failed, if all else fails, I feel like I could go and do that. And now utilize my social media presence to let people know who I am and what I do, because that doesn't go away. That's not going to start over. So I could utilize that to be able to restart my career, and I'd be okay, I feel like. So if I had to start over, that's probably what I would do.
That's good.
I mean, at my age, starting over would be very tough. I mean, that's the reality, but I agree with Tim, because if I had to redo everything, I will make life a bit much simpler, you know, and really get the right perspective. Last time when I was running my own business, I used to think about my employees, the monthly overheads and everything. But right now, if I had to do it all by myself again, I have so much, like I said, there's so much simplicity in my life now that things would be it would be tough to start all over again. I mean, to be honest, but it'll be simpler and my needs will be simpler. That's what I would do. Yeah.
For me, I think that it's not actually that difficult, and I'm saying this not because of pride or whatsoever, but I have built in a habit that when I wake up every day, it's a new start. So a new start to the way I approach existing work, a new start to potential collaboration, and then a new way of thinking. So every day, every morning to me is just like, things change. So let's adapt, change along. I think that's a very important attribute. And recently, I think for some of us, I'm trying very hard to actually bring groups of people together so that we can actually unlock value and all of us can just prosper together. It takes a lot of change in terms of thinking every day. It doesn't really bother me. If I have to restart again all over, it would just be waking up tomorrow morning. And I don't have a habit of thinking about the accolades or the achievements that I've achieved. I don't. That has been drummed away by my arm. Like whatever good things that I have achieved in the past, it's already in the past. So forget about it. It will never happen again. In the National Championships 2015, I came in as a silver medalist. Is that going to happen again? No, because the same race conditions has to be there, and the same competitors have to be there. The same timing has to be there. So there's no point thinking about it. So every time is a new time. So it's like a champion boxer. who gets into the ring, he might be a world champion from the last fight. But the moment he chooses to enter the ring again, that thing has to go away. I'm fighting again. If he still thinks that he's a world champion over and over, I guarantee he's going to lose the next one. So to me, it's every time and every day, it's starting over. Habit. I think it has to be a habit. Like, is it a marketing terminology? I think they call it creative destruction. Is it something like that?
I don't know.
Creative destruction?
I never heard that word.
I think it's just turning over a new
I
leaf,
haven't
right?
either.
Creative
Creative destruction.
Creative
That sounds
destruction,
like
something like that.
something in my life.
Creative chaos.
Oh man, chaos is already
Organized chaos is usually my my wheelhouse.
I think it's Tawana that I was talking to recently here on LinkedIn, and she is just wonderful. And she talked about starting again fresh, and she made it sound like such a wonderful thing, like a refreshing thing.
Yep.
I've always felt that if you start over, for example, her situation, I know that I don't feel she would mind me sharing because she's very open about it, but she went through a time where her and her husband were no longer, and then she started over completely fresh again on social media because she wanted it to be a whole new life, a whole new experience with different connections. But the way she said it was just so refreshing. I'm like, I almost want to start over again in my life, not necessarily on LinkedIn. I like everybody I'm connected to, but like, how wonderful is that to just be able to say, you know what? I'm going to start right here and I'm going to do everything differently. And I'm going to be who I'm supposed to be, and I'm going to accomplish what I want to accomplish. And I just think that's the coolest thing in the world, to be able to do that and to not look at seeming failure as devastation, but rather a platform for just a new start. You can build whatever you want now. And so I just thought that's cool. And I think every once in a while, we do need a refresh. So.
Shout out to Tawana, by the way. She's awesome.
Yeah, Tawana's awesome.
And I think that probably you brought out a good point, but I would also want to hear from my friend Joseph on how he thinks about failure. But I'll give you some thinking time. I'll go first. I think that the fact that you failed, and I want this to be an uplifting way. The way I'm saying this, because I can feel the wave of negative energy going around recently, even in social media platforms. So I just want to say something about it. If you feel that you have failed, rejoice. If you feel that you have failed, rejoice. It means that you're working on something. It means that you are living. It means that you're working on something and you are living. Because if you're doing nothing, you can't fail. So to all my friends that's out there, I know there are people who reach out to me over DMs on LinkedIn and Facebook, which is kind of interesting. I don't really check my Facebook. I only use it to distribute BUP, but I couldn't take the time to reply to everyone. But if you hear this segment, don't take failure too seriously. Really, it is just a testament that you're living. It is just a testament that you're living. It's part of life. What do you think, Joseph, on failure?
Well, if you followed my posts about 3 posts ago, I wrote about failure and my perception of it. And I always find that failure is a work in progress to a better you. Failure is a journey that you must take and become a stronger you. So I think I fully agree with you, because I would be surprised if someone doesn't have any failures in life. I would applaud them, but I think failure is necessary for growth, for your personal growth, for your professional growth, for your growth in relationships, So I think it's timely, So I fully agree with you on that. Yeah.
That's good.
I just add real quick that, the only way you really fail, right?
Yep.
If you fail at something and you do exactly the same thing that led you to failure, then yes, that's, to me, I believe that's failure. But if you fail at something and you can come back and learn from it and, take those lessons and apply it to whatever you do in life, let alone your next venture, then it wasn't failure. That's the way I feel.
That's good. So for me, I think it goes to what happens if I had to start over at my age, right? I think every stage of our life is different. So I started over when I was in my 20s, but that was simple because I had no other people I was responsible for. I was single. I can pivot very easily. I didn't have kids to feed. So it was really just a life lesson. I learned and I move on and I started over, and I did things that I didn't want to do, but I learned humility, and then I climbed back up because no one can take this away from you, right? But today at my age, now I'm, going to be 40, and then I have a 5 and 8-year-old, right? And a wife, and it changes everything, right? Because now I have to think about how do I provide for them. And it's not as easy. And I think there's people out there that's probably experiencing that today. If you lost your job today, right? You have kids to feed. It changes. It's not it's easier said than done, even if the right skill set, because there's a underlying stress that's in the back of your head is how do you provide, right? But at the end of the day, it's like Jen said, even Aldric, if you have the ability, it's always there, right? But are you willing to do things that you might feel overqualified to do? Because survival means being okay to do something that you have to be able to throw pride away, right? Because survival means putting food on the table. Survival means having shelter. Survival doesn't mean, becoming a manager or an upper level job. Are you willing to go bag groceries at Walmart, even though you have a high IQ? That's survival, And I think looking back now is if I had to do it again, I would just take whatever, during the pandemic, and then do a side hustle, and be willing to, if it's DoorDash, Uber, where I can leverage my time. And there's so much on the internet that you can do now. And just to make enough to at least keep my family going. And then I agree with Joseph, simplicity. How can I downsize, right? Simplify your living, live simple, eat simple. And I think that's what I would do is, and I agree with Tim too. I would probably go into sales because there's nothing else that you can make have control of your income without being an entrepreneur, and if you can sell, I mean, there's a bunch of sales jobs out there, commission only, right? That's what I would do.
Commission only.
Yep.
So this is just in my imagination, the first thing that comes to my mind, which we do have children, so it wouldn't work. But if I were starting over and it was just Kevin and I, then I would drag him all over the world. I would basically become an influencer and travel and show people places that they've never been or that they don't dream of going, and just show people and places all around the world. And I know that sounds probably a little bit childish, but it's something that I've always wanted to do. I haven't wanted to be an influencer, but you do have to find a way to make money if you're going to be able to do things like that. And there's just so much value in the world and the people of the world and the food and the culture. Yes, I would become a food critic, and I would just grow into new things that I've always wanted to do. But that's probably unrealistic. So I might have to start out, like he said, just bagging groceries or whatever I had to do to support my family, because honestly, that is really what's important. And being humble to, you know, whatever we need to do to make it and to support our children and give them the best quality of life that we can. So, I mean, I don't have anything necessarily in mind, but I believe Kevin and I always have it in our heart to be a business owner. So no matter what we do, I would build back up to that again.
Yeah.
No matter what it took, no matter how long it took, I think we're meant to be business owners together, and you know, or separate, but together. So
Awesome. So Joseph, before we end tonight, being you're the youngest there, so what's a golden nugget you can throw at our audience? You know, especially during this time. You know, I know there's a lot of negativity going around. You know, with the media pandemic. What's some life lessons that you can throw a golden nugget to everyone in our audience?
I know it's been said many times, but I think having the right perspective is very important. Having the right mindset at the moment is very important. So, and I'm speaking from my experience because I've heard it so many times from people. So, remain positive and don't give up, because there are better days that are coming. You know, this pandemic will stop one day, but in the meantime, we have to prepare. We either sit and wallow in self-pity, or we start preparing for when things are improving. So even at my age, I'm still learning. I'm looking for my next opportunity. So if I can do it, I encourage everyone to have that perspective of life, because it's so much better than sitting at home and just worrying unnecessarily and being negative. Yeah.
And then next week we have episode 32. We go talk about creativity propels us, or we can go with Aldric's marketing term. What was it? Creative destruction.
I'm sure it's a legitimate term. I'm sure I heard somewhere.
Thanks for having me.
That's gonna be my post for tomorrow. I'm gonna define creative destruction.
I'm gonna look it up after this.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for our audience for joining us tonight, and we appreciate all of you. And hey, if you guys want to go live and you're looking for a tool, StreamYard is a great tool. And hey, feel free to message Aldric, Tim, Jennifer, or Jeremy. And our core team, we can give you a discount link, and feel free to reach out to us. So we appreciate all of you, and thank you so much, Joseph.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for the wisdom.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
All right.
All right. See you
Bye.
next week.
Have a good
Bye.
night, everyone.